Uh, so good morning to all of you once again. After a gap of 4 days, I am speaking to you back. And as all of us know, we were discussing the chapter Cell, the Unit of Life. And if you recollect from your memory, you understand that cell is the fundamental, structural and functional unit of all living organisms. And why it is fundamental? Without that, without cell, there are no tissues. Without tissues, no organs. Without organs, no organ system. Without organ systems, there is no organism. So if organism has to be there in this world, what is the fundamental thing that should be there? Cell. And we say structural. Structure refers to shape and size. Correct? And then functional. I said if cell has particular shape, like round shape, let us say, automatically the function of that would be, it will be placed in the eye, and the eyeball is spherical, it helps in vision. If the shape and size is, let us say, cylindrical, and it has got very good roughness, then it will be in the thigh muscle, so that the thigh bears the weight of the body. So like this, structure decides the function, and function encompasses or function wanted particular shape and size of the cell. Then only it will perform the function correctly. We must be thankful to two scientists, I said, Robert Hooke and Anton van Leeuwenhoek. Robert Hooke discovered the cell. Of course, it is non-living cell, dry cell in the cork, whereas Robert Leeuwenhoek observed a live cell. And all of us are able to see today all the cells, varieties of cells, including our own cells. I am sure some of you must have seen your own blood under the microscope. So thanks to technology, invention of microscope, compound microscope, dissecting microscope, electron microscope, okay. Now of course we are using nanotechnology. Through nanotechnology also, we are able to see even the minute element, chemical element that is present. We have gone to such a level where we are able to see the structure of the gene. Okay? And why we must be thankful to all these gentlemen that we were talking about, whether it is Robert Hooke or Anton Leeuwenhoek or Swan and Sheldon or Gregor John Mendel. Without all these technology, they could see, they could presume, they could post various theories, and whatever their guessing work was or is proved to be correct today. So thanks to their procrastination. And as I said, these two gentlemen, Sleeden and Swan, proposed cell theory. And in the cell theory, they said that basically every organism consists of cell. Cell is the fundamental unit. And also said that if there is a cell, there has to be a boundary of the cell. And that boundary is plasma membrane or cell membrane. And they said the cell present in plant will have two layers. One is the cell wall, which is the outermost, and the innermost one is cell membrane or plasma membrane. Why cell membrane is called plasma membrane? It is made up of plasma. That's why it is also called plasma membrane. And we will be studying in the next few minutes the structure of that cell membrane or plasma membrane. Also, he said that animals and plants are composed of cells and products of cells. So, it is not only cells. In turn, what cells are made up of? Small parts will be there inside the cell. They are called cell organelles. Like we said, plasma membrane is cell organelle. Cytoplasm, cell organelle. Mitochondria, cell organelle, like this. And another scientist, Rudolf Virchow, a Russian, explained that cells divided and new cells are formed from old cells, existing cells. That means if there is to be group of cells, basically there should be one cell. And naturally, the other day I remember some of you were asking, sir, from where that cell has come? Accepted. If one cell is there, like one muscle cell is there, that will undergo mitosis, cell division, forms group of cells. Since their shape, size, function is same, Naveen calls it a muscular tissue. Fine. But where is that first muscle cell has come from? That is the question Naveen is asking, isn't it? For that also, again, thanks to many scientists who discovered that basically cell comes from evolution of some chemical compounds, and it is supposed to have originated from a particle called simple speck that is born in seawater. So basically we must be thankful to seawater for the formation of simple speck. From simple speck cells have originated. And I said there will be two cells, one live cell, one dead cell. Live cell is a cell that has cytoplasm. Also I told you cyto means cell, plasm means liquid. Liquid that is present inside the cell is cytoplasm. Okay? And along with the cytoplasm, just now I said many cell organelles will be there inside the cell. All these cell organelles like mitochondria, plastids, ribosomes, endoplasmic reticulum, all are interconnected. So in that most important cell organelle is ribosome. Why is it so? It is responsible for the formation of proteins. Remember, unless until we have sufficient proteins in our body, there will not be growth and development. I think all of you must be observing yourself that after your 10th class board exam, when you go home for summer vacation, all of a sudden there will be good growth. In 10th class or 9th class, maybe you are 5 feet, but in that 2 to 4 months, you will see you will grow to 5.5, 5.6. See, maximum growth you are attaining. And that growth is because of proteins that you consume. And that is the reason why I said in your diet that you eat daily, ensure that it should be rich in proteins. All of you know proteins are present in all the green vegetables and particularly in green peas, and of course white of the egg. In milk it is present, and some of you are non-veg, so in chicken lot of proteins. So one must consume lot of proteins, and at the same time it should be balanced diet. So we have said varieties of cells will be there. Smallest cell is mycoplasma, I said. Largest cell is egg of ostrich. Sometimes in your UPSC NDA exam these questions will be there. Longest cell in our body is nerve cell, neuron. And size of the bacteria, smaller, they are smaller. Of course you know smaller than that also is there. What is that? Any idea? Smaller than bacteria? You are seeing now in that top, mycoplasma, PPLO, these are smallest. And our own human RBC, 7 microns. And just now we said that cells will have different sizes and shapes. You are seeing varieties of, some are elongated, some are spherical, some are cylindrical, some have got very thick wall because of chemical deposition. Okay, And presence or absence of nucleus makes cells two types: prokaryotic cell, eukaryotic cell. Pro means primitive, karyon means nucleus. A cell that has got a prominent nucleus is prokaryotic cell. That means in pro it is a primitive. As the name suggests, pro means primitive, not very clear. Whereas U means very clear, karyon means nucleus. So eukaryotic cells have clear-cut nucleus. What is the second difference? In prokaryotic cells, cell organelles will not have boundaries. Membrane will not be there. So they are membraneless. Okay? Nuclear membrane will not be there in the nucleus. So when Naveen observes something under microscope like bacteria, I ask him, Naveen, show me focus on nucleus. He cannot focus because nucleus is spread. It is almost mixed with cytoplasm. Nuclear material will be there. DNA, RNA will be there. But there is no boundary. Whereas in eukaryotic cell, we take Naveen's skin only and observe the skin cell of Naveen. Clearly you can see centrally there will be one small basketball. That is the nucleus. Okay? I think I have made it clear. And in prokaryotic, again, when you all observe, when you come back to school, when you observe under microscope, based on the shape, bacteria have 4 types. If you observe under microscope rod shape, then it is bacillus. On the other hand, if you observe spherical one, round ones, that is coccus. Okay? Now, rod-like, one bacteria is very good friend of us. Do you know what is that? It is present inside our stomach and intestine. Why your mummy tells you to eat curds daily or majge, buttermilk? I think all of you must be drinking, no, buttermilk every day.
Yes, sir.
In that buttermilk, in the curds, there will be lactobacillus, and even in milk. So you must drink milk. You know, the other day, sometime back, when someone asked Dhoni, MS Dhoni, what is the secret of your strength? How is that you are hitting 6 after 6? You know what was the reply of MS Dhoni? Milk. No, that is Sachin Tendulkar. After taking money, Sachin Tendulkar will tell, Boost is the secret. But without taking money, Dhoni tells that the secret of his strength is milk. Every day he drinks 5 liters of milk. So sometimes, you know, among us, vegetarians will have that inhibition. I am vegetarian, I will not have strength, I am weak compared to non-vegetarian. It's not so. In fact, look at the elephant, look at the rhino in the forest. They are all vegetarians, no? They are still strong. With its trunk, if elephant gives one stroke, what happens to tiger or lion? Finish. Only one stroke. So, here in curds, there will be lactobacillus, rod-like. They are very good friend of us. They maintain the pH balance, acidity, right? And second one, spherical round one, coccus. This also you must have heard. This causes many diseases also for us. And of course, cholera, you know, very famous. Cholera vibrio, comma shaped. And the cholera has killed so many people when it was in peak and when medicines were not available. And spirillum, spring-like. If you take any of the bacteria out of the 4, take the section, okay, and we will see what is there inside. What is there? Outermost cell envelope or cell covering. Inside, you have got mesosomes and chromatophores. And this is what I want you to focus. Third one, nucleoid. We are not calling it as nucleus. We are not labeling it as nucleus. Why? there is no nuclear membrane. You cannot say which is nucleus, which is cell. Everything is same. And the other day I said, two liquids will be there inside the cell. Liquid present inside the cell, cytoplasm. Liquid that is present inside the nucleus, nucleoplasm. Plasm means liquid. Cyto means cell. Cytoplasm, liquid present inside the cell. Nucleoplasm, liquid present inside the nucleus. But in prokaryotic cell, what's happening? Both are same. You can't distinguish which is cytoplasm, which is nucleoplasm. Okay? Now let's see what are all the cell organelles that one can see in a prokaryotic cell like bacteria. So basically, you will see the layers, outer layer, you said, and in turn that outer layer is made up of three things: glycocalyx, cell wall, plasma membrane. So glycocalyx is the outermost layer, as you are seeing in the diagram. Okay? And its composition and thickness vary in different bacteria. It may be slime layer, slime is loose sheath, slippery, or it may be thick and tough. If it is thick and tough, it's called capsule. And whenever these organisms find the local climate not suitable, conditions are bad, they are not good, something like Afghanistan, then what they do? They develop very thick layer and they convert themselves into cyst. Okay? Bacterial cyst, viral cyst, fungal cyst, like that. And they stay in that position unless the conditions are favorable. That is the reason why sometimes when we take antibiotics suggested by a doctor, let us say doctor suggests for 5 days and Naveen takes only for 4 days, because after 4th day he feels he is all right. Okay? And he thinks that there is no need to go to doctor again since I am all right. Then what happens after 1 week or 2 weeks? Again he falls sick. What is the reason? Some of the bacteria, they converted themselves into cyst. And that cyst goes and accumulates somewhere inside our body. It hides. So, the moment Naveen stops taking medicine, immediately that cyst, after some time, it breaks and produces number of bacteria. So again infection started. Again person becomes sick. That is the reason why doctors prescribe particular dose for so many days. They insist, isn't it? Second one, cell wall. As you are seeing in the diagram, it is middle layer. It gives shape to the cell and provides structural support to prevent bacterium from collapsing. So cell wall is the main one that gives strength and support. And further, number 3 layer, plasma membrane. This is the innermost one. And it is semi-permeable in nature. Semi-permeable means it allows only things that are required inside. And it excretes out or throws out whatever wasteful material is there. That's how we are saying semi-permeable. And it interacts with outer world because of diffusion or osmosis. So it is structurally similar to the one that is present in eukaryotes. So again, one of the scientists, again we are thankful to him. Who is that? Let us say, yes, he is called Christian Graham. So sometimes when you all wanted to see the bacteria under microscope, normally they are colorless, but we want to see it. So what is that idea we will employ? We will put some color to that. Like Pallavi will put makeup, no? Whenever she is going out. Like that, here we put some makeup for that. We add some color. The moment we add color, it's called stain. Like in biology lab also you must have seen, we have got methylene red, methylene blue, iodine, like this. Okay? So we apply that. When we apply that, some bacteria will take the color. Okay? And some bacteria, in spite of applying so many things, they will not take. So based on whether bacteria absorbs stain or not, bacteria is of two types: gram positive, gram negative. So the moment we apply color called stain and the bacteria take that and appear with varieties of colors, then we say gram positive. In spite of you applying stain, bacteria won't take any color, then it is gram negative. Okay. Next we come to mesosomes. So it is formed by folding of the plasma membrane. So the plasma membrane, which we talked just now, the inner layer will have foldings. Those foldings will form mesosomes. And these mesosomes will be in three forms: vesicles, tubules, and lamellae. So let us see the diagram. Look at that foldings. I think you are able to see the mesosome. Inner layer, plasma membrane with one bubble like one. Okay. So these are formed out of plasma membrane. So what are the functions of mesosome? They are responsible for cell wall formation. Cell wall is formed because of mesosomes. For DNA replication, they help. DNA will split, that's called DNA replication. For distribution of chromosomes to daughter cells, during this cell division, chromosomes will be passed on from parents to offsprings. That is again help or done by the mesosomes. For respiration and secretion, also mesosomes help. And finally, to increase the surface area of plasma membrane and enzymatic content. So once the surface area is more, the exchange of gases will be easy. Look at that. Okay. So this is how the mesosomes are formed. Now let's go to the next one. Next slide. Chromatophores. As the name suggests, they are color. These are pigment containing membranous enfoldings in some protozoa, like blue-green algae, cyanobacteria. Look at that. So colorful ones. Chromatophores. You will be doing one experiment next year. Chromatography based on the diffusion of colors. Okay. Chromatophores. Right. And third one, nucleoid. Just now I said, if prokaryotes don't have a nucleus like this, then since it is not having nuclear membrane, okay, since it is not having nuclear membrane, we can't call it as nucleus. It is nucleoid. And it is formed of non-membranous circular genomic DNA. Only DNA. DNA means deoxyribonucleic acid. It is a secret of our life. Only DNA will be there. Sometimes, of course, in some organisms, RNA also, like viruses, RNA will be there. But it is non-membranous, means naked. There is no boundary. Many bacteria have circular DNA. If they have got circular DNA, we have got separate name for that. It is called plasmid. Okay? And it is normally present outside the genomic DNA. It gives some unique phenotypic characters like resistance to antibiotics. Now, this plasmid thing, you just remember that circular DNA of an organism is called plasmid. That much you remember. We will talk about this plasmid at length next year in class 12th. Now, I said in bacteria there will be whip-like structure. These are called flagella. Flagella, plural, flagellum, singular. So these are thin filamentous extensions from the cell wall of motile bacteria. Their number and arrangement are varied in different bacteria. Bacterial flagellum has three parts. One is the filament, another is the hook, third is the basal body. So this whip-like structure has got in turn three parts: filament, hook, basal body. Basal body is present at the base. So the filament is the longest portion and extends from cell surface to outside, as you are seeing in the diagram. Look at that. From cell surface it is going out. That is filament. Okay. Next, around this bacteria there will be hair-like structures. So these are called pili and fimbriae. Now, if you observe this in the diagram, let me read once. Pili and fimbriae are surface structures that have no role in motility. Motility means movement. What are pili? Singular, pilus. These are elongated tubular structures made up of special protein called pilin. Okay, where are the pili? Look at that. Okay, I hope you are able to see that. The sex pilus, pili, and fimbriae. Only fimbriae is hair-like structures. Pili also is hair-like structure, but little bit length. Okay, and flagellum. Three are there outside, external structures. So fimbriae are bristle. You know, daily morning you are brushing. In your brush there will be bristles. Okay. So these are fibers sprouting out of the cell, means coming out of the cell. In some bacteria they help to attach the bacterium to rocks in streams and to the host tissue. They are adhesive. They just help bacteria to attach. And most important, ribosomes. And I said ribosomes are the structures that are responsible for protein synthesis. Without ribosomes, no protein synthesis. Without proteins, there is no growth and development. So these are associated with the plasma membrane of prokaryotes. These are about 15 nanometers by 20 nanometers in size. They are made up of two subunits, 50S, 30S. They together form 70S. What is S? Sedimentation coefficient. It is a measure of density and size. Now, how they will be looking like this. Look at that 30S, 50S, 70S. Where are they present? Inside the cytoplasm. And within that structure, there will be two units attached together. I am just expanding it. Yeah, look at that. In prokaryotic ribosome, 70S we said. There are two units you see. 50S subunit, 30S subunit. 50 and 30. Similarly in eukaryotes, in us, 80S, 60S and 40S. But of course, don't add like in mathematics. Sir, 60 plus 40, 100, sir. Then why are you calling it as 80S? What is S? Just now I said, it is the sedimentation coefficient. Means it is measure of density, right? So it is not mathematical. And what are the uses of these ribosomes? Now where are they present? Look at that, inside the cytoplasm. Okay? Now, what are the functions? Where exactly they are useful? Now look at that. As I said, you just remember that they are responsible for protein synthesis. Because I don't think you have studied about translation. Only in class 12th you will study this. Just in this class you just remember ribosomes are the site for protein synthesis. Don't worry about the translation, transcription, all that. Several ribosomes may attach to a single mRNA to form a chain called polyribosomes. It's called polysome. Ribosomes of a polysome translate the mRNA into proteins. You just remember that word. Ribosomes are responsible for protein synthesis. So how exactly it happens? This is how. One ribosome, another ribosome, and in between mRNA will be there. You just imagine, I will tell only one thing, just like it's a railway station. On the railway track, when train comes, you see, bogies will be there, no? S1, S2, S3, like that. It is like that. As the bogie passes, S1 passes, it gives one thing, S2 passes, like that. So, each ribosome, when it passes through the mRNA, it releases one amino acid. One amino acid attaches to another amino acid, forms a protein. If chain of amino acids, that's why we say polypeptide chain. Okay? So, what are proteins? Proteins are made up of amino acids. They are responsible for our growth and development. I hope I made it clear. Okay. Next, inclusion bodies in this. So, these are non-membranous stored reserve material seen freely in the cytoplasm of prokaryotic cells, or whatever chemicals that are there. Phosphate granules, synoviation granules, glycogen granules, gas vacuoles, all this. In this vacuoles, there are varieties of vacuoles. What are vacuoles? These are membrane bound empty spaces. Inside there will be empty place. So, these perform three duties. One is digestion. If the vacuoles are helping in digestion, we call digestive vacuoles. Some are collecting all the waste material and throwing it out of the body. They are called excretory vacuole. And the third one is gas vacuoles. These are found in blue, green and purple and green photosynthetic bacteria. Where are they present? Look at that. These are present inside the cytoplasm, like this. And they keep on helping it. I think we have covered all the cell organelles present inside the prokaryotic cell. So in my next class, I will be talking about cell organelles present in eukaryotic. And I must tell you here that all these, whatever we spoke today, and next coming two classes, lot many questions will come in UPSC NDA. So this is not only for your regular CBSE, it will be very useful for your UPSC NDA also. So keep the notes, start writing all this, right? So I will close down the class now. We'll meet tomorrow again. Monday we'll meet. Okay? Take care.